Welcome, everyone, to the dance floor, where life lessons are learned through the art of dance. I'm your host, Anna Harsh, and today I have a wonderful guest with me, Melissa McDaniel from Charlotte, North Carolina, a dancer, an educator, a choreographer. She's an amazing, talented artist. Welcome to the dance floor, Melissa.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Melissa, I was reading your website and gosh, you are just of all kinds of things. A speaker, a judge, right? A judge
Yeah.
for adjudication for dance competitions and all kinds of things.
Yes.
How did your dance journey begin? How did you get started?
Well, I started when I was 3, and it started with my mom. Clearly, my mom was not a dancer, but she said I was walking around on my tiptoes. So, of course, when people see that in a kid, they're like, "Oh, she must want to be a dancer. That sounds great." It actually means they have really bad balance. But it, I'm glad that she thought that led to being a dancer. So she took me to dance class, and to her dismay and the dismay of her wallet, it never stopped. It just kept going and growing and growing. Of course, starting in the recreational realm here in Charlotte, North Carolina. And then around 10, my dance teacher, Miss Tiffany, I'll never forget her name, was like, she needs to go to competition. She needs to be a competition. And my mom auditioned for competition company, and I made it. And that was the beginning of the beginning. I hate to say the beginning of the end, but the beginning.
Yeah,
of the
but
beginning.
you caught the bug, right? You
Yeah,
caught that bug, and
I caught the bug. And I was so very grateful for that teacher who realized that if I hadn't gone into a competitive realm, my interest might have waned. Like, she knew that, staying in the recreational path was probably not going to keep my interest long enough for me to stick with it. And so went into competition, and even then was competing, and realized at 13 that I didn't think that the studio that I was with was going to push me enough to go further. So I asked my mom, I want to go to a different studio. Let's find a different studio. And we did that and danced all the way through. I was 18, started teaching there. That was my first job.
Wow.
Being a teaching assistant, and caught the bug for teaching at that point and choreographing. And then when I went to college, I said, Mom, I'm going to major in dance. She said, you absolutely are not going to major in dance. You need to make money. Which we will talk about later, the parent push to not do what it is that you are called to do because you need to make money. But I said, okay, fine. I'm going to major in communications. I majored in communications, but continued to choreograph for some companies, dance with a few companies in college. And when I got out, I worked in marketing forever, but always taught dance. So I've never stopped teaching dance ever in my life since I was 15 years old. I'm 40. I'll be 42 this year.
And marketing is so creative too. I can see,
Yeah.
I have this bug for marketing myself, and yeah, I can see where you could go down that rabbit hole, and connect the two for sure.
Right. And when I went to college, it was you needed to be a doctor, a lawyer, or engineer. That's who made money. Doctor, lawyer, engineer, nothing else outside of that. And I'm going, I don't want to do any of that. All that sounds like way too much stuff that I have no interest in doing. I'll do communications, and then I can be in marketing. I can be in graphic design. I can be in journalism. I can be it just opened up so many more doors for me as options. But I always taught dance. Went to working in marketing in corporate America, did a lot of great stuff in marketing, and got laid off in 2007. Got laid off. And I was like, you know what? I've been teaching. I want to teach full time. This is what I was supposed to be doing. This is what I'm doing. And I went and I taught at a K through 12 independent school in Concord, North Carolina, right outside of Charlotte.
Yeah.
And taught there for 9 years, moved into administration as their director of dance and visual art. Did that for 2 years and decided I want to have my own business. I don't want to work for anybody anymore. So that's how I ended up here in this space as a choreographer, educator, educator of not just dancers, but an educator of people in the dance community. So really giving information and resources to parents of dancers, studio owners, dance educators, and dancers as well.
Yeah, that's a big circle, and they all need advice. They all need help. I know back when I had a studio in my hometown, I had it for like a decade, and I owned it by myself right out of college. And, you don't know what you're doing at first. But then as you learn little tips and tricks along the way, I tried to help parents because I saw my parents struggle when I was little.
Right.
How are they going to pay for this costume, and how are they going to pay for ballet classes, and how can we afford all of this, that just didn't have that kind of cash.
Right.
So I wanted to make sure that parents had accessible ways to afford these little bit of costumes. So I said, well, let's not, maybe we can make costumes, or maybe I could, find a
Right.
company that's not so expensive, or maybe we don't need to do all of that glitz and glamour all the time.
Right.
So we had like coffee hour with like choreography from the high school students. I let
Wow.
them let their choreography shine. We had these little
Uh-huh.
coffee nights where parents could bring, a pot of coffee, different flavors. And so after the show, they could talk about their work
Right.
and gain those communication skills and being able to say who they are, and talk about why they liked to dance and what their piece was about.
Right.
Just opportunities that I never got, when I was a high school student, or, growing up that way. So I think that's really important to educate parents and the community that surrounds the
Right.
dance
The
world.
dancer. Yeah. A lot of
They have
people
no
just
idea.
focus on the dancer. The dancer. You're going to be a professional dancer. If you're going to be a professional dancer, you need to do this. You need to do this. Technically, you need to get ready for this financially. You need to get ready for rejection. You need to do this and you need to do that.
For
And I
sure.
don't think that there's enough care taken for the dance educator. I
No.
don't think that there's enough care taken for the studio owners who are investing so much money and time and energy and their livelihood into doing this to train the dancers that you are so focused on. How
Yeah.
can you not care for the vehicle that supports the dancer?
Right.
And I don't. That's really what Turning Point Dance Creations is about, which is the company that I started. It's
That's
about
awesome.
let's take care of the vehicle. Let's
Yeah.
take care of the parents who pay for it and have to support it and have to motivate their children and have to make decisions. Those are the decision makers for their kids.
Right.
Their kids are minors. So, you shouldn't turn to a kid and go, hey, do you want to do this intensive and that intensive? And what about this scholarship? And what do you think? Kids like,
I
I'm
don't know.
12. Right. So
Sounds fun.
yeah, sounds great. Yeah, my friends will be there. I mean, you should really be able to, one, as a parent, not necessarily, even if you've never danced, advocate for your dancer and have at least a basic understanding of what's necessary and what's not so that you can make decisions. You should also be able to collaboratively work with your dance teachers and your
Yeah.
studio owners, and that is a piece that is totally missing
It's missing.
in this dance universe, because that is such an adversarial relationship for some reason. I still haven't gotten to the bottom of why the parent and dance teacher adversarial relationship is so adversarial, because it's not like that with your English teacher and you. It's not
Yeah.
like that with your science teacher and your parent. Like,
That's a really good point. I don't know. Yeah, it's like they come in with this defensiveness.
mm-hmm,
It's like, I'm here for your student. I'm probably the one that cares about them, they're mentally and physically,
right,
nutritionally, like what are they eating? What are they thinking? How
right,
do they feel? It is a 360. That was a perfect thing to call your company, because
yeah,
we encompass all of those things, their
right.
whole world. And sometimes for some students, that is their whole world.
It is.
I
It,
can't tell you how many times I brought snacks to the studio. It cleaned up. I mean, somebody pulled a tooth. We
right.
celebrated so many kinds of things.
Right. Good and bad. And
Good and bad. You're there for
yeah.
them.
And I did a show, and I wish I could remember exactly who the guest was or what they said, but it was a moment for me that I got emotional on the show, because they said your studio could be the only place where this child feels heard,
Right.
seen,
Safe.
welcomed,
Yeah.
safe. Like your children are walking into your studio from all myriad of places. Their
You're right.
home life could be horrible. Their
Yeah.
home life could be restrictive. Their home life could be silencing. Their home life could be absolutely great, but they don't
Yeah.
get challenged. Their home
Right.
life could be, here, get this, take this, and it could be a gimme, 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 but they don't have structure. Like they're coming from so many different places, and you have to realize that hour, 2 hours, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, if you're talking about your babies, could be the only time that they get what they need. And that
Yes.
just increases the importance of that 45 minutes. You're like, oh
Yeah,
my
that
God.
environment. And a lot
Yeah.
of parents punish their students or their children and by taking away dance classes, if they didn't make that grade, or they didn't do this, or they didn't clean up their room, well, you're not going to dance class tonight. Well, you're not going to rehearsal tonight. And like you said, that might be their only safe haven, that only space that they feel that they could shine and grow. And now they've taken that away, and that could damage a student even more.
Right. And nobody realizes the importance of it. And I also think that, to what we were kind of talking about earlier about the adversarial relationship between parent and teacher, why is it there? I don't think that parents understand the importance of this dance space. They understand the importance of math class. They understand the importance of science class. So when a teacher requests something or requires something or reaches out, oh, that's important. I need to, and I need to listen. And furthermore, that teacher is the expert. She knows about science. He knows about English. And for some reason, well, not for some reason, it's a societal, normalized societal thing that artists are, starving and broke, and we don't know anything. And it's just something we did for fun. Right. And, we just happen to be able to, get a little bit of money out of it here and there. But we're really not super smart. Not book smart. How smart is
that's a perception we need to just keep breaking.
Right. And we have to keep breaking it. So when a dance teacher comes to you to them as a parent and says, hey, I need Johnny to do A, B, and C. I need these things to be happening at home. What is he eating? I can't, his energy is down, his stamina is low, these are the things. And they're like, oh, how dare you? He just comes here to laugh and have fun. What do you know? And I think that because there's no importance placed on it, and they don't understand the full complement of what you get from a dance class. You don't just get your choreography. You get all these life lessons and all these things that, I call them transferable skills. All your transferable skills that can go into whatever job or whatever arena you want to be in. They don't understand the importance of that. So there's a disconnect there.
You're right. Melissa, we're going to take a quick little break right here. And when we get back, let's touch upon those life lessons that dance teaches us, because there's a lot. All right, we'll be right back with Melissa McDaniel. Welcome back, everyone. We're here with Melissa talking about life lessons that we're learning through dance and the art of dance. What are some things that, besides the technique, what dance, learning about the arts in general, especially dance? Melissa, what have you think the students are gaining besides the technique, the life lessons, the life skills, maybe?
One of the biggest things that I think is totally overlooked is, and no one ever thinks about it, nobody ever talks about it, but it's so important to me that I have to highlight it. There's a relationship between your adult dance teacher and you that's different than any other relationship you have with any other adult in your life. They are an authority figure, but they don't have punitive power. They don't control your grade. There's no grade. They're not controlling your GPA. They're not controlling your use of your video game devices or your phones. And that relationship is like this hybrid of a parent and a teacher, because they feel like they can trust you with information and things and secrets and thoughts, but they're not to the point where they feel like they can disrespect you or, not be in the place of a student. And I think that balancing that relationship and having that relationship is a life lesson that they take forward, because then they learn how authority can be loving and caring and nurturing, and not just, rain down punishment.
It's someone that you can be vulnerable, that you can show that choreography, show those emotions through your movements, and not be laughed at.
Right. And be taken
and not
seriously.
Be ridiculed or put down.
Right.
You're expressing your emotions and yourself, a piece of yourself. And that's someone that you can only trust in that space. And You're right.
And you learn that as an adult, having had that experience, you are better able to express yourself than people who didn't have that experience.
Yes.
You are better, and you also have a wider range of ways to express yourself.
Thank you. Yes.
It's through body language. It's through the things that you do for other people. It's through things you say. It's through, the things you create. It's through
it's that teamwork. It's that camaraderie.
Mm-hmm.
It's empathy for anyone and everyone.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I learned through dance. It's just being accepted, whoever walked through the door, no matter what background or race they were. It was so much fun to just learn from all kinds of people around the world.
And that's respected in the dance space.
Yes.
And there is, even though there's some places that I see the industry going that I'm not necessarily happy with, but there's no hierarchy. It's teacher and student, and every student is a student, and every student has something that they do really, really well, and every student that has something that they don't do very, very well, and there's always somebody who does that better than you, or somebody that you need help, or somebody. There's just this. There's no hierarchy there. And when you think of traditional educational spaces that may not have an arts lens or arts perspective, there's an A student and a B student and a C student. There's a student who has great behavior and a student who is always in the principal's office. There's these hierarchies that are structured that we don't have. That
You're right.
It a much safer space.
You're right. Even I can remember in college, I would go across the floor, as a dance major. And the girl next to me might be like 6'2". Well, I'm not.
Right.
I'm only 5 foot. So, her grand jetés are not my grand jetés.
Right.
But I learned to stretch. I learned to grow. And her gift of just say, you can do it. I'm like, gosh, I don't know if I can go across the floor with her anymore.
Right.
But I learned that, yeah, I can.
Right.
I can
exist absolutely can.
In the same space. And my movement might look a little different, but I learned to grow and stretch a little bit longer with my leaves. So it improved me.
Right. And there's also a courage there. You're in that line and you're about to go across the floor and you look across and you're like, oh, Lord.
Can't do it.
Oh, gosh. Look at who I'm paired. Oh, no, not the 6-footer. Like, how did I get?
She was so graceful and gorgeous. And I just thought, I'm like a little bush that's just rolling across the floor.
But at that very moment, you go, I have no choice.
I have no choice
to do it. And that push is also one of those helpful things. You get to a moment, an impetus in your career or in your life or in your relationship, and you just do it because you learned that.
You got it. It is courage. It is a lot of courage. You do. And it gives them a little bit of courage to be in front of strangers. Maybe they have to do a speech at school or, later in their adult careers, maybe as a lawyer, maybe as a doctor, maybe whatever, a speaker, and that courage goes a long way from the arts. Being able, we all start at the beginning. Nobody wakes up with a leg kicking and bop ma to their ears. Nobody.
Right.
Got to learn those things and learn how to control it. That's the other thing, learning that control, over your body and over your words sometimes, right? And so I just think the dance especially is one of those art forms that really gives us so many life skills that we take into our everyday life.
Right.
How to work with another person that maybe, you got to go across the floor with. You're like, oh, you just dread it every morning. Like you have to work with them.
Right.
But you gain that courage and you do it and you push through. You're right.
Yeah.
Well, what would you suggest? What's your advice for the next generation? How can we give them something that we've learned and say, you know what, if you just knew this a little bit or sooner, gosh, that would have helped me.
I have to go with dance educators first and foremost, because I think that's the, unfortunately, I think that we're becoming few and far between because people just don't value the art form. My next generation is, if you are a dancer, consider being a dance educator as a career.
Yeah.
Because people are going to tell you, you can't be a dancer and you can't do this and you're going to be rejected. You don't have the body. You don't have this and this. You're going to be poor. You're going to be hungry. You're going to be on the street. Okay. Yes, I might. And I'm not saying don't pursue dance at all. I'm saying understand that there are other avenues that you can pursue for a career that integrate your dance experience.
Yes.
And I think that my biggest advice is, if you're a dancer and you're moving through your dance space and you're going to your dance studio, it's time for you to graduate. It's time for you to come out. Don't think you have to abandon dance altogether because
Yeah,
you
why
don't
is
want to
that?
be a dancer, because people don't know that there's an array of things that you can do. There's
Yeah.
dance therapists, there's dance educators, there's doctors who specialize in treating dancers, there
Yes.
are agents who specifically represent dancers, there are
Yeah.
photographers who do strictly dance photography. I'm like, there are so many things that you
Yeah, it
can
doesn't
do.
stop. It doesn't stop at 18. I
Right,
think a lot of dancers are like, well, I'm
right.
graduating high school, no more dance classes for
Right. And I
me.
don't want to be a dancer, so boom, I'm done.
Yeah, but then
And
they miss it. Like 2 years later, I hear from dancers who are like, I really missed your class, or I really miss dancing and performing with your company. And I'm
mhm,
like, well, you didn't have to stop
you
because
didn't have to
you went to
stop.
college or you went into
Right.
another venue of life
Right.
or
And
career.
you do not have to abandon your dance.
Right.
Dance can be ingrained in you forever and ever and ever. And
For sure.
actually, to do that, to abandon it, is a disservice to all the work that you put into it. You
Yeah,
just
why would
spent
waste all those years?
Right. You just spent 18 years dancing and you're just going to go, well, I guess
That's
I'll
it.
go be an accountant. I mean, yeah, that's fine. You can go be an accountant, but you could go be an accountant and you could specialize in helping dance artists manage their finances and
I
budget
was
and do
just going to say
retirement.
that. Be an
Like,
advocate for dancers
right,
or for the art of
exactly.
dance.
Right. And that I
Support, fund,
right. All of that. And
all of that.
that's my advice. If you, yeah, go do something else that you really want to do, but figure out, how can I turn this and help the very people that I have grown up with, that I have loved? How can I help this next generation of dancers and dance educators, studio owners, and all those things, and still nurture my love of dance while doing this thing that's not seemingly dance related?
Yeah. And if anything, create a space in whatever field you're in
Mm-hmm.
for
For
someone to come in
dancers.
and talk about dance,
Mm-hmm.
advocate for them, create a
Mm-hmm.
space for everybody to be in.
Right.
Um, Gosh, imagine if everybody had a community center in their community, small town, big town, whatever, where dance could be just open and different.
Available
Oh
and
my gosh, just different.
accessible and
Could you imagine that? What kind of world would we live in?
right. Right. And how would the
With
art
all.
form grow? And how would the perception of the art form change
Wow.
that was available?
Yeah. Well, Melissa, those are great words. And I can't express how excited I am to continue a conversation with you, even when we're done with the podcast, just to what can we do? How can we
Right.
grow our dance community like a garden? Let's plant
Mm-hmm.
those seeds today, everyone.
Exactly.
Listen to Melissa's words. Even if you've done dancing through high school and college, what more can you do for your community?
Mm-hmm.
Can you reach back and maybe help another dancer out? Maybe
Right.
even just share their post on Facebook or on social media. And hey, maybe that would grow your community and they would think differently and have empathy for others and maybe give somebody else a little courage to grow too.
Exactly.
Melissa, you're so talented. Everyone needs to check out your company and all the services that you bring to this world. How can we get a hold of you? How can we see your wonderful website?
Yeah, so you can find me in a number of different places. My general website is melissamcdaniel360.com. That is an umbrella for all of the things that I do in the world. A lot of that involves social justice advocacy. It involves speaking engagements. It involves marketing, but it also involves Turning Point Dance Creations, which is my dance world persona. I'm gonna call it my dance world alter ego. So my dance world persona is Turning Point Dance Creations, and we're really a lifestyle brand. Like I said, bring information and resources to the dance community that will help us all become unified and work together. So you can find us at tpdancecreations.com. On Instagram, it's tpdc_on_ig, and on Facebook at TP Dance Creations.
I will include your website on the podcast notes
Yes.
so that everybody can see your services and invite Melissa to your town.
Yes.
Even if it's an online class right now,
it can be an online class. I do workshops. I work specifically with Apollo Performance to do a show called Beyond the Steps on a weekly basis every Friday at 2 p.m. on Facebook Live. And we do that show and we tackle the issues that face dance educators and dancers, the tough ones. Last week we were, what are the issues that face young dancers of color in the industry right now? We talked specifically about that. We had a show about is there gender bias against male dance educators in our industry? We touch on topics that everybody goes, I don't want to talk about that.
I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah,
talk about those things. It's only going to make the world a little bit brighter and shed a little light on the things that we need to dig into. I know my company does authentic Italian folk dances that I've researched from Italy. And I recently had a festival said, well, why would we want your group at our festival? It's not Italian.
Right.
Oh, well, maybe you want to enjoy something new.
Right. Maybe you want to learn about something.
Maybe you want to learn about it. Yeah. So I think we need to have open minds about other cultures, other races. And like you said, all these biases that we tend to battle and fight every day, don't we?
Right, exactly. So it's not just dance. I come and I do seminars and workshops on racism and equity in dance studio culture, all of those types of things to just, make the dance world a better place.
Yeah, we need to do that. Melissa, I can't wait to do some more things with you. I'm excited for you. All right, everyone, take Melissa's advice. Go to her website. Let's do this, everyone. Let's make it a little bit brighter and make our communities grow with dance. Who doesn't want to go outside right now and move? We've been trapped for a year and a half. Let's do this. Don't move, right?
Totally trapped. And now we're free.
Melissa, I am so thankful and grateful for your advice today for everyone out there, not just dancers, but everyone. It would all you got to do is plant that seed in your community and reach back and help someone else.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Thank you so much for this opportunity, Anna.
You're amazing. Thanks, everyone, for joining us today on the dance floor. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'm your host, Anna Harsh. Until next time, keep dancing and moving on the dance floor.